Okay, we're live. I want to welcome everyone here tonight. This is going to be another presentation. I want to welcome Mally here. She's a NCA member from just outside of Toronto. And, you know, it doesn't matter what the person's background is. People are people. But, you know, we're showcasing our immigrant members because, you know, we faced a lot of attacks. And, you know, we support all Canadians who support our country, our people, our way of life in Canada. And Mally's one of those people. And there's a good chance she'll be running for us in 2019. And, you know, she's a strong, courageous Canadian. And she immigrated from Pakistan. And then she was here. She did her schooling. She went back there for a little bit, so she's got some experience going back, and now she's back here. So she has a really good understanding, everyone, of what's happening to our country. She understands some of these third world countries because that's where she was born and came from. So you know, it's my great pleasure to have Mally on here tonight. And she's going to give us a testimony about her experience and why she's very concerned with the direction of the country. And I really want to welcome you, Mally. And it's Canadians like you, young Canadians like you, who are going to make a difference to our country in the long run. So welcome tonight.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks for a great introduction. Hello, everyone. So he's calling me Molly, but I'll give you my full name. So because you're going to search for Molly, you're not going to find me.
Yeah.
So my full name is Porochesty Ksarkri, and you can find me anywhere on YouTube, Facebook. If you wanted to get more info on me, if I were to tell you everything, is going to take more than the time that we have. So in short, I'm just going to give you a little background of where I come from. So I was born in.
Could I just get the spelling of your name so everyone has it?
It's M-A-H.
Okay, M-A-H.
L-E-E-J.
Okay.
That's my first name. And then last name is S-A-R-K-A-R-I.
Yeah. Malaji Sar... Excuse me?
Mahlich.
Mahlich.
Mahlich. You got it.
Mahlich Ksarkri. And
yes.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to make sure everyone knows your name. Thank you. Please continue.
So yeah, I was born in Karachi. So I spent a lot of my time in the city, as well as because my dad kind of belonged to the suburbs, or you would say like the villages. Like these are literally villages. So I spent a lot of time up there as well. So I got to experience the city life and the country life. And I talk about that, considering in Canada it's very different than the villages up there. You know, they're very backwards. So they have big landlords that kind of rule over all the normal, peasants, I would say. You know, they have servants. It's a highly caste system. You know what I mean? So I got to see that, and then, when I came to the city, it was a different life. But yeah, so we came here when I was around in my teens. So I had a pretty good understanding of what was going on back home and the kind of atmosphere we were growing in. And it was, of course, as a girl, you couldn't do this. As a girl, you couldn't go out. As a girl, you couldn't, like I remember because most of my cousins were guys, and I didn't have too many female cousins. So I was always, trying to do whatever they wanted to do. So my guy cousins would go to an arcade to play video games. But I wasn't allowed to go there because it was all guys there. So I still remember till this day, being a child, that I was not allowed to do certain things, And then when I used to go to the village, of course, after, I became a woman, once you go through men's, you get your periods, and a woman is considered an adult like when you're 9 or 10, So when we used to go back to our villages, we had to actually I had to cover my whole face. Like, it wasn't even like when you see the burqas and stuff, and we would go through towns, I just had to sit there with my face covered, and I would sit like this in front of the AC in the car because you can't breathe. It's very hard to breathe when your face is covered with something. Like, I don't know how women do that. So I got to experience a couple of these things, and then basically we just came, like my mom took us and brought us here because she wanted to give us a better life. You know, growing up in that kind of environment, I think it was very hostile. The only escape we used to have was whenever I used to go to my grandmother's house, like my mom's house, and because it was a very open atmosphere, you know. So the way our mom was raising us, it was different. And then I saw my dad's family was just, you know, just like to the extreme level on a lot of things. Coming here, we were very happy. Of course, I was around 14, 15, so I did my high schooling. I kind of isolated myself from like the certain Pakistani community, because I knew what they were all about, and you know, they would be again judging me in ways, because my mom raised me in a way that, okay, you know, you choose to wear what you want, you know, as long as you respect me and you tell me where you are, I had my freedom basically, you know, so I was able to do what I wanted, and I didn't have too many restrictions, and I respected that. You know, I never broke her trust in that way. I had few friends in high school that were from Pakistan and stuff, but I kind of stuck myself between the Canadians. And then there wasn't that many Pakistani people here at that time, talking about like 20 years ago. Then came a time where I started getting into modeling and stuff, and then came an opportunity where this woman used to do this Miss Pakistan World. So I was like, fine, I'm going to compete in it. It was held in Canada. So I got to compete in it, and somehow it just happened that my name went kind of viral. The news that made it went viral. I was known all around. And then all of a sudden I was like, when I would go and read the comments and stuff online, this is going back in 2007 and 8, you would see I was getting comments, hate comments from Canada, people in Canada that were actually threatening me. That how dare you represent Pakistan, and how dare you're doing this, how dare you're doing that, even though I told over and over again that I'm not Muslim. You know, first of all, it shouldn't matter to you because I don't belong to your religion, and I'm in Canada and you're in Canada. You should have that tolerance if you're in Canada. And but then, you know, there's people that supported me as well. And a lot of that support came actually from Pakistan. I'm not saying that people here didn't support me. There were. But it was shocking for me at that time to see, you know, all this hatred coming towards me. So anyways, I was still very liberal at that time. Still liberal here. Didn't pay too much attention to it. Went back to Pakistan in 2010. I was very scared because you just never know who's going to be little cuckoo or who's going to not like you. And Pakistan is not the safest country. You know, if somebody really wants to kill you, they'll kill you. You know what I mean? So when I went there, I just kind of went very quietly, didn't tell anyone. Then I started working slowly in the industry. But remember, when I was doing all this stuff, I was just involved in the beauty, and I was speaking up for women's rights and stuff. I never went really to criticize or speak more about the religion per se. So I was targeted, but not targeted like extremely. So people were like, okay, you know what, she's in the media, whatever. Media gets away with a lot of things in Pakistan. They're not as conservative as we think it is. So working there and stuff, anyhow, I came back here. It was year before, sorry, when the motion M103 kicked in. So when that rule started kicking in, that's when I kind of took a step back and saw what was happening. Because when I came back from Pakistan, I was working in the Pakistani community here. I was in all those events, Eid event, it was, Diwali event, or whatever event there was there. I was working on a Pakistani television, and even though it was pretty multicultural, pretty happy, when I stepped back and I saw it, and I was just like, wait a minute, like this is like back home. This is turning into something totally different. Yes, I like my culture, I like my food, I like my people, but at the same time, now this is turning into a different game. Things are starting to change. As soon as they're going to tell you that you cannot criticize anything, not anything, well, it's freedom of speech. So we should be able to criticize, especially in ideology, any kind of ideology it is. I'm not saying only one religion, but we should be able to ask questions. And if we stop people from asking questions, that's when we stop learning. So that was my awakening. And then I've always spoken, like I said, you know, I've always spoken for minorities. I've always spoken for women's rights. And so there are different issues that I've always raised. And then when I see it happening in Canada, I started speaking more and more. And now we see we're like in such a huge mess here. Today, I was in court. So I basically live far away from Toronto. Like, I chose this because I wanted to be, I'll be straight up, I just didn't want to be around my community. I wanted to be around where it's Canadians. You know, I didn't want to, I like multiculturalism. I go to downtown if I want to get my food. And I used to come back here because what I liked is my freedom. You know, none of my neighbors, if I needed help, they'll be there to help me. But nobody was nosy into my business. Nobody was sitting there watching who's coming, who's leaving, what I'm doing. You know, a lot of these places I noticed, because I grew up downtown. I've lived in Mississauga, I've lived in Ajax, I've lived so many different places, but I chose here. 10 years ago, I moved here. Today, I was in the courthouse and I was standing there, and I just kind of, this guy was there, white guy, and I didn't want to stare at him because I think it would be rude, but at the same time, I just couldn't, like, it just wouldn't go through my, so he was wearing top to bottom, you know, the Arabic outfit, and this white guy with this long of a beard. And that's not the only one person I've seen here. I've seen a couple of people here. From the last 10 years, you wouldn't see too many women here with the hijabs. You saw women, there were Muslims living here, but nobody with a hijab, or forget burqa. You would never see that here. Now, in the last 2 years, it's just totally changed. We're just talking about the demographics and how it's changing, not only in Toronto, but they're shifting more towards the north. And what has happened, the people that used to live here, I've seen so many people that have sold their house and they're moving up north. And they're moving up north. And how far north are you going to go? You know, how far north am I going to go? Because that's what they do. They come over and then people start moving and they start leaving, because you cannot, sometimes you can't live in certain societies. Like, I, for example, cannot live in Brampton. I say it's not nothing that I'm racist or whatever, because my lifestyle, my thinking is way different than the atmosphere that is in Brampton. Every time I go there, I get into fights because somebody has a problem with the way I'm dressed, or they will stare at me like, you know, they're back home in their little village. So I'm the kind of person that I actually will ask them what they're staring at. And so, yeah, we had this one restaurant we went to. It was me, my mom, and another, and we all went to the Ottawa rally. So we're all into this movement together. So I'm there, I'm wearing a long dress. There was nothing wrong with the way I was dressed. I wasn't dressed very provocative that, you know, people would be looking at, staring at me. And these 3 guys sitting there, and they were just staring, like gawking. This is like gawking, them making me feel uncomfortable. So I asked them, like, do you know me? Because maybe they're on my Facebook or whatever. No, we don't know you. So I'm like, then you shouldn't be staring. I'm like, this is not your, they were from Punjab. So I told them the same thing. I'm like, this is Canada. Do you not know that staring is rude? So I used to be on City TV 10 years ago. I used to do Ed the Sock. And Ed the Sock was pretty bold show. You had to wear bikinis, lingerie. There was a rule, or the security, because all the security guards were men. There was a rule that you have a 3-second rule. You look for 3 seconds and then you take your eyes off. Even though we were in lingerie, in bikinis, none of these guys would stare at us. I'm fully clothed from top to bottom, and yet these guys were literally, it felt like they were raping me. And I experienced this in Pakistan when I went there. So when I went to Pakistan, when I went as a grown-up, the same thing. They would look at you like this, you know. So we have certain sayings like, why don't you just walk me home? You know, you're going to gawk at me like this. And then I started wearing the burqa thing because people would recognize me. So I was like, you know what, if I need to go to certain areas, I would just cover myself with the burqa. And they would still stare at you, at your eyes. You know, it's just that this is a culture. It's a cultural thing that they just stare at women. You could be anyone. You could be old or whatever. So I don't like to live in that kind of society. I came here to be Canadian, that if I want to wear, as it is legal, I should be able to go topless, actually, in Canada. I don't, but I should be able to, and, you know, because it's legal in Canada. So I don't understand when liberals And Justin Trudeau, when he talks about being liberal and having this law that, oh, we can go topless, and he's taking pictures with topless women, please send one of those topless women, lesbians, in Brampton and see what's going to happen to her. You know, so it just, and then at the same time, he's supporting the Muslim Brotherhood and their extremist ideas. Well, he doesn't know that these two don't mix. So what we're doing, I always give this example, is like, you cannot mix water and oil together, you know, and they're trying very hard right now to mix us together, and it's not going to. It's just going to blow up in our face. So that was a little bit of my background and what I have been.
Interesting. Yeah, do you, what do you see going on? Like, do you see a change in Canada? Like you mentioned, over the last 2 years, you've seen a noticeable change. Mm-hmm. Apparently, ethnic enclaves are just expanding in Canada.
Oh, they are. They are. Like, we have, you know, even though we say we're multicultural and we all get along. Yes, we all get along. You know, when we get along, when we're invited, let's say it's a Diwali event, yeah, we'll all go there. You know, they invite like few white people, they'll invite few Chinese people, they'll invite few black guys, they'll invite minorities in numbers. And majority will be, let's say, all Sikh Punjabis. You know, like, sorry, let's say it's a Vaisakhi, you know, celebration. Oh, we're multicultural. There's the Eid festival, same way. There will be 90% Muslims, and then you have 10% like other minorities up there, and then they're like, oh, we're multicultural. And that's not multicultural. Multicultural means that we're all spread equally everywhere. I went to on Highway 7 and Leslie, there is a TD Bank. So not that I had to, I just had to stop at that bank, and I went into that bank, and I felt like I was standing in China. Tellers were Chinese. Every single customer was Chinese. I was the only brown person in there. They were all speaking in Chinese. Not that I wasn't served. My business was done. I understand. But we have turned these little places into little Italy or little China or little India or little Brampton, which is also okay till you're not making a ghetto like Brampton is now. You see how troublesome Brampton is. Like, we've had Greek town and we've had the little Italy for so many years. Like, it didn't start now. Even Chinatown for a long time. But we didn't find so much trouble coming out of those areas. You know, now if you look at Brampton, every day you will hear there is a shooting, there's a robbery, there's this, there's that. Brampton is not what it was before. And just last week I was reading, there was like a drug bust. There was like at least 12, 13 people that were arrested. And they were mostly Sikhs. You know, not that I'm judging everybody that is Sikh, but there's obviously a problem. And when I speak up about it, people are like, you're being racist. I'm not being racist. You got to look at the numbers. Yeah. I'm not saying, you look at the numbers. I'm not saying that everybody that is out there is bad. Of course not. That would be stupid for us to think that way. But there is a problem. Unless you're going to recognize the problem, you're not going to find a solution. And that's what I say the same thing to Pakistanis. They don't, certain things I talk about, they don't like it. And I'm like, this is your problem. As soon as we point to something, you guys shut it down by either saying, oh, look what the other person is doing. Or you're going to say, oh, you're racist, or you're being Islamophobe, or you're being this and that. But the fact remains that we have so many people into our justice system, into our politics system, into our security system, health system, that, you know, if that's why they have so much control, to be honest, you know. And what I see from when I came to what I see here is so much corruption in all the departments. You can take the legal department, there's corruption. I have lost my faith into the Canadian legal department. Like, I thought that Canada was a very just and fair country as legally, but it is not. If you are a criminal in this country, of course you're going to deal more with law, because if you got caught, then you got to have lawyers. So guess what? You're learning more than an average person like me and you, because we don't really deal with it. We don't get in trouble, and we do everything. We abide by the law. Whereas other people that know loopholes can slip away with it. So I experienced this today because I had my first court hearing this morning. I didn't know, as I took my ex to court, but I didn't know that the other person doesn't have to respond, doesn't have to show up. It's not, you know, there are a lot of things that he doesn't have to do. And I'm just like, well, you know what, that's good to know, because now next time I'm going to do the same thing if I know that I don't have to show up and you're going to do nothing about it. And then I was also told today, I was so funny because they're like, it's not about, because I was like, this is not fair. And they're like, it's not about being fair. So I'm like, what is the court system for then? If it's not for justice and fairness, what are you guys sitting here for? And I'm just giving you my example, but look at the example of what's happening with Doug Ford. That was just ridiculous. How are you going to say that we need more politicians? You know, I always hear about cut this, they're cutting from the education system, they're cutting from the healthcare system. No, what we need to cut is politicians, people in government jobs, their salaries, their pensions. That you will save millions of dollars right there. What we need is healthcare. We need good school system for our kids because this is our next generation, you know. But these people that are sitting on their seats doing nothing, just spitting out garbage after garbage and collecting money and pension, and they're, you know, there's so many benefits to having a government job. I have seen it with my own eyes, and people are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to add a couple of things. You know, what we see going on, you know, all these parties in Ottawa, they're all working together. They're all part, you know, we call it a conglomerate. A conglomerate is a single entity with different branches of it. So you can imagine these four parties in Ottawa, these career politicians in Ottawa, they're all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
Mally, and they're pushing for what you've just described, a globalist village. We're all going to be, it's all these enclaves, no-go zones. We're all divided. And that's what's coming, everyone. It's exactly what you described. How they're expanding. There's areas now you don't want to go in, like Brampton, you could argue is on the verge of being a no-go zone. Right? Yeah. Well, it's definitely a no-go zone for you. You don't want to go there.
I don't
right?
Like, I still go there, but I'm just saying that, you know, I don't feel comfortable. It wouldn't be long before it turns into a no-go zone. Yeah. Like, I've still gone into Thorncliffe Park, where that guy was from, the shooter, the Danforth shooter was from. So I still go into that area because I used to go do some grocery shoppings and stuff up there. There's a mosque right across, but yeah, when you go there, that doesn't look like it's Canada. You know, it looks like you're back home in Pakistan. The only difference is, like, they still gawk me up and down. It's just that I'm the kind of person, I still choose. I don't know. People say, like, you instigate stuff. I don't think it's instigating stuff. I just like to, what is that word? I just like to exercise my right.
And that's your right as a Canadian. We have no issue with that. And that, people have to have common decency, but you can see what's going on. They're bringing people from these third world countries. They're bringing their values, if they have any. They're bringing their cultural norms, their habits, and they're coming in here. They're not integrating. And this is what's happening, everyone. The federal government, these crony parties in Ottawa, are all encouraging this. And it started with Pierre Trudeau, Mally. And he said, come to Canada, just be yourself. And do whatever you want, push whatever you want. As long as you don't break the law. And it's been going on ever since. And these career politicians, they're sucking your tax dollars on their huge salaries, their pensions. They're lying to you every day. And you know that.
See, the way I see it, that, let's say, Pierre Trudeau, I would say he did a good thing because that's why I came here. So, but the difference you have to understand is that when we were back home, we never even knew that you can come here illegally and stay here illegally. Like, you know, we were scared that, oh my God, if you come here illegally and people know you're going to be kicked out and you're going to be deported, like this. I'm finding out all this now that, you know, even in the U.S., they're fighting for illegals to stay there. It's just like, what? Like, you have no brains. Why did I or anybody that came here legally? Because back in those days, there was a point system. You had to come here and you had to be somebody to be here. You had to have some kind of financial background to be here, right? And they used to have a point system for your education. to see what kind of, where you fit. They weren't letting just anybody in, because I know some people that came here like that. Now, on the other hand, in the last 20 years, I find 20 to 30 years is just, they are just letting in anyone. And then what happens is that you let one person in, right? And let's say that person has good education, whatever. But that person's, let's say, coming from a village of Timbuktu, whatever, right? And that person is going to bring his sister, his brother, his mother, his cousin. They're going to sponsor all those people here that are living in that village with that village mentality, and they come here without any education. Now, we have a lot of women that live in Brampton, okay, a lot of elders that live in Brampton, and this is why when you go there wearing this, they'll be looking at you and they'll be thinking down, they look down on you. I'm talking about the mentalities you're importing here. So, you have now these parents are here, one of their kid is here, they're going to come here and get married to somebody, and then they're going to have kids. Guess what they're putting in their child's mind? You think just because they go to school, they're going to become Canadianized? No, they're going to grasp onto Canadian things. They like to party. They're going to do all that, probably behind their parents' back, because I've seen it all happen throughout my high school. My Pakistani friends weren't allowed to do stuff. They would go behind their parents' back and do it, but they still did it. But at home, they are being taught certain things, and certain things meaning you're better than everybody else. Okay, just because you're this person, or just because you follow this religion, everybody else is shit. You're better. So I'm talking about different cultures. Brampton, I find that a lot between certain Sikh community is that they really look down upon other people. They really do. They're very supremacist, and they're very racist, to be honest. And I'm talking about from my personal experience. My ex was, he is Sikh. And I'm not just talking about him, but I've seen that if you notice, you will see the Sikhs will not mix. Very rarely you will find them getting married outside of their culture or outside of Sikhs. Okay, I've seen Asians getting married outside of their cultures. You don't find too many, but you still see it. I've seen even Pakistanis marry like other people, other cultures, but I don't find too many Sikhs doing that. Even Hindus have done it. So there is this thing out there that, we're better than everybody else, and they look down. And Brampton is full of people like that. Now, there is educated people here. I talk to many Sikh friends that I have, women. They're very liberal, they're very open-minded, and they're very classy. But again, it depends on the mindset you're bringing here. And it's hard to judge who you're going to get, because now they have kids here. And their kids are going to be growing here, even in Canada, but they're going to have that kind of mindset.
Exactly. I just have to clarify something. Under the National Citizens Alliance, your family would have been let into Canada legally, because your mom came here as a political asylum seeker.
Yes. She
was fleeing for her life, for you and your sister, under an oppressive Islamic regime at home and in her community. So she would have been let in under National Citizens Alliance. But the difference between us and these crony conservatives in Ottawa and crony liberals and the rest of these globalists in Ottawa, the difference is we wouldn't let these radical extremists in.
No, of course
you see what I'm saying? So that's the difference. But this is very concerning. Mally, what's going on? All these people coming in. And you see what's happening to our country. And you know what they're doing in the long run, Mally? They're actually replacing the Euro-Canadians who founded our country. What are we going to be left with, Mally? All these other groups running the country. Yeah. And what's going to happen to our country with them running it?
It's going to go down. It's going to be
everyone, this is the truth. So we encourage you to donate to the National Citizens Alliance, become a member, run in 2019 like Mally, step up, because this is reality. Stop watching TV. Stop watching the fake news out of Ottawa. Stop listening to these crony politicians who lie and spin to you every day. Just wake up. And if the light bulb comes on tonight, then come and join Mally and I, so we can save our country. which is going down fast.
If people don't know much about history, I always tell people that just go back. You don't have to go back too far. Just go back into the 60s, 50s, and see what Pakistan was like, what Afghanistan was like, what Iran was like. Just go look at the history. The thing is, our new generation right now, the people, the kids in school, the kids in colleges and universities, nobody's learning history, and they're not being taught the right history.
Yeah.
Right? How was Pakistan? Pakistan was very secular. You know, they had bars there. They had women used to be able to wear bikinis, dresses, everything. Everything was secular until the Sharia law kicked in. You know, and then everything was done. And same thing happened in Afghanistan. Same thing happened in Iran. When you start noticing in a society a burqa, it's not that your society is going forward. Your society is going backwards. You're in 2018. Like, let me see this sentence. So women in Saudi Arabia started driving in 2017. How does that sound? In 2017, it's so like, it sounds like we're coming from the Middle Ages, you know, and we're being pushed towards the Middle Ages. What I find, what these politicians want to do, they're divided. They've already divided people. I've never seen so much division in my life than 2 years. The last 2 years have been so dividing, like, oh, you're white and you're black and you're Asian and you're this and you're gay and you're, it's just been division after division. So for me to see, I think they're just going to divide us, and they want us to fight each other. They want to have a civil war. They want to have that. It's already happening. If you look around, it's already happening in Germany. It's already happening in Sweden. It's already, people are getting fed up because people like us are getting fed up. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're always spreading hate. I'm not spreading hate. I never tell anybody to go hurt anyone. I always say for them to stand up for your rights. Just don't keep your mouth shut, because you're, and I can understand a lot of people are scared because they can get fired from their jobs just for having an opinion, you know, and you don't want to offend anyone. But that's not going to work anymore. You know, that's not what people want. I have come across some people, and I'm sorry to say, some white folks that are the dumbest online and in person. They're so stupid. And they were agreeing on so many stupid things. For example, one was agreeing that, yeah, I understand that Omar Khadr shouldn't have gotten $10 million, but I also think he should have got some compensation. And I was like, why would you get some compensation when you are making bombs and you already have that in your mentality? I don't care. Oh, he was, you know, different arguments they throw at you. The bottom line is you're being brainwashed. And this person that was arguing with me does not know about madrasas, the Islamic schools. When kid is 2-3 years old, they're sent to that school to go memorize Quran. They're called Hafiz. So they memorize the whole Quran, and they sit there, and literally, you'd sit there and you go like this, and that puts brain, that you're being brainwashed. Yes, it's not their fault, but these kids, by the time they're 12, 13, they're like, they'll blow up. They're like that. They're
literally,
taking,
yeah.
They're taking bombs.
Yeah, 100%. Because I got to add something on that point, because at one time I went to mosque as an observer, and it's the indoctrination would just blow you away, everyone.
Yeah.
And praying 5 times a week, and the constant sermons, and then the peer pressure. I've never seen anything like it. The complete indoctrination over your brain.
See, I think Canada is perfect the way it was. That you had your religion, you did what you do in your home. You know, we don't need 10,000 mosques. We don't.
Well,
you know?
It's coming, and the government under Harper was funding them, and we're pretty sure Trudeau's funding them as well, with our tax dollars, Mally. But this is the reality of what's coming, and it's been going on for decades. And you talked about multiculturalism. Well, you know what I say to you, like, we're not against, you know, different cultures coexisting in Canada, as long as they have the same, share the same values as we do, which is liberty, our civil rights. But we have issue with cultures coexisting here who do not.
Yeah.
All right? And you know, there's a saying, Mally, multiculturalism is the slow death of the host culture. and we argue multiculturalism or extreme multiculturalism like we have in Canada, plus with the mass immigration, is the fast death of the host culture. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So they're going to turn this into a globalist shithole, this country.
Mm.
These globalists and, well, these establishment politicians are just bought and sold. Those parties have been bought out a long time ago, everyone. So look yourself in the mirror. Hopefully the light bulb goes on in your brain, because you're getting played. But these globalists, all they want is power and control. They have no allegiance to Canada, Mally.
Well, Trudeau said it himself. The Canadians, we have no culture. And if you look at it now, we actually don't have a culture.
Yeah.
But people always ask me, right? So this is one thing I always heard in our brown community, that white people have no culture. Look at their kids, they don't care for their parents. When they get older, they put them in, retirement homes or like those. I have spent most of my life around white people, and I have seen them have more for family values than I've seen others. Because I've seen people kill their parents over money or whatever the case is. I see it, how greedy everyone is. So these were the things that used to be said to us when I was in Canada. Don't go around, the white people, or their culture is bad. Or what is your culture? Because you can go out and party. You can hang out with boys. You could have a drink, or I could dress the way I want, and this is all bad apparently, right? So if this is so bad, my question is always like, listen, if you're living in a rental property and you're not happy there and you're being miserable, leave, move to another house. That's where you're going to go, right? That's what you're going to do. You're not going to fight the landlord to stay there and make your life miserable. If you're not happy and you don't like the rules here, then leave. But it's our politicians, like you just said. And maybe, I might be wrong. I don't know too much back in the history. Maybe the politicians weren't as corrupt, or I should say they weren't as openly corrupt, And back in those days, again, our legal system, our police system, our security, it wasn't as infiltrated with immigrant immigrants from third world countries. It was mostly Canadian borns. So it was still under control. But now what has changed is that these are the people that are not even born here. They're born somewhere else, and they're in this, politics and everything, and making big decisions. Like, look at I couldn't even comprehend why we have this guy. What's his name?
His son, the immigration. Hussein.
That was just like a joke.
Yeah, the immigration minister.
Yes, so, when we have people like that managing, of course, you think he's going to do good for this country? I don't think so. No, he's filling in as many people, he's bringing in as many people as he can, as fast as he can.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, as fast, because I think Trudeau knows he's going to lose next year. So he's trying to do it as quick as possible.
Well, this has been going on for a long time, Mally, understand? Under Harper, there was historic mass immigration. He set up Islamic Heritage Month, I believe, in 2007. He was funding mosque. He was in New York, everyone, at the UN headquarters, and he declared his support for the global governance, which is basically what's going on now. So this is just a plan of the entrenched 1% establishment in Ottawa. They're stringed to globalists, Mally. And these globalists have no allegiance to our country. It's all about profit control. Euro-Canadians are just collateral damage to them. They don't give a damn, and they just want more money and power. And that's what's going on, everyone. The only way we're going to change things in Canada is to replace and drain those sellout parties in Ottawa out. Get rid of those career politicians, Mally. The career politicians are, these are just slippery people who are out for themselves, and they're feeding off the Canadian people, and they're serving the special interests, right? So we need to drain them out. If we don't, we're heading down the path of France, UK, Germany, etc., towards civil conflict. We don't want that. So, we're encouraging people to support the NCA. We are non-career politicians, everyone. Emphasize that. Non-career politicians, as we should be. Yeah. You should be serving the Canadian people, not as a career, but as a unique opportunity to give back to your people and country. It shouldn't be a career, okay? We're not an establishment, too. All right? We're not a crony politician who's been in there for decades. And all of a sudden, they're going to save Canada. No. We are all grassroots, Mally. Non-career, non-establishment. That's NCA. So, we're giving a lot of people hope, Mally. And, but we're at a crisis in this country, everyone. We're at a crisis. And Mally described it perfectly tonight. Look at, she's having to move from location to location. She doesn't want to go to certain areas now. And she's being persecuted. She's being called racist. She's being called all kinds of nasty names. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's an immigrant Canadian. And
the wrong people calling me racist. So I'm like, first of all, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is our country, everyone. It's a bloody mess. Mm-hmm. But it's all according to plan of these sellout globalists. These crooked, these corrupt parties in Ottawa who are corrupt to the core. These career politicians who lie to you every single day. We want to drain. We want to replace them. We have to. Otherwise, this country is going to turn into a globalist shithole country. And that's the honest truth. And you're all going to be controlled. The taxes are going to go higher. And you're going to have more laws and regulation. The globalists are going to make a lot of money. And they're going to be in complete control. So that's what's happening, everyone. This is... Just look around you. Listen to Mally. Do you want to add anything onto that, Mally?
So I was going to say that, with the career politicians, I believe the people's psychology works in this way, that they see somebody that has been in politics for so long, that person must be good at politics. No, they've just become really good at taking your money. And that's why they stay there, because they know how much money they're making. Perfect example of how much money that different people are throwing in at Justin Trudeau. For example, his big supporter is one of the guys that bought Hershey Center and now is the Paramount Center. Mohamed Faki, he's the owner of Paramount Fine Foods. He came here 10 years ago. A really great story. He came self-made man, and now he's got franchises all over. Great, but Justin Trudeau last year stood in his office thanking this guy because he hit 10 years anniversary, and why is because this guy is giving him so much money and filling up his pockets. We only see, okay, you know what? Yeah, they're giving them money. They're doing transactions. Do you even know what if they meet somewhere, or they're mailing, or maybe they're getting envelopes delivered with full of money? What do you know? You don't know where they're keeping this money or the cash that is flowing around here and there. It's just what I find what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it like how it used to be back in the days. The kings and the peasants, okay? The kings and the peasants, there was nothing in between. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to totally make the middle class disappear. And middle class is disappearing because they're raising taxes. Electricity's gone through the roof. I used to be able to afford this house. I used to be able to afford everything, but everything has gone through the roof. And they're making easier things for people that make a lot of money. The house prices, I understand they were going through the roof, but then the government had to come and interfere. And then they made it so hard for anybody to get a mortgage. You need at least an income of $300,000 to $400,000 to afford a detached house like this now.
Sorry, I was trying to look at the comments, but go ahead.
So what I was saying, that they have made it so hard for an average person to come to Canada, or for a person that has low income to buy a detached and get a mortgage for $400,000 or $500,000, you gotta have income of $200,000, $300,000, $450,000, and who has that? Who has that anymore?
Yeah.
So who has that? People with money. People with money that have that are the only ones that are going to be able to buy those houses, then rent them out very expensive to other people that already have no money. So this is done on purpose because they want the middle class to disappear. That's why they're bringing on taxes. And like you said, people like normal people need to get, we don't know too much about the government, but we have common sense. Okay, it doesn't take too much to see what they're doing. They're not doing anything very smart anyways right now. We have 47 people in the council that are doing nothing, and Toronto is going down shithole, like seriously. So what's the point? I see people that have no experience with nothing, but they're just because they're popular. It's actually being a politician is all about being in a popularity contest. Basically what it is. You're more popular and people like you more. That's why you win. You win the elections. Not too many people are going to go and read what you actually have to offer. People, when they elected Justin Trudeau, they were sick of Harper, okay, and they wanted to legalize weed. Okay, I know we have a lot of stoners in Canada, and they voted for Liberals and for his good looks. That's what people were talking about. Nobody saw what he was going to do. Nobody is right now looking at the Conservatives' policies. They're all like, we have to get rid of Trudeau, so we have to bring Scheer in. Yeah, but nothing is going to change. Maybe 1% they might change something, but nothing really big is going to happen because they're doing the same thing. Go look at their policies. They're not stopping immigration. I think, personally, that right now we should put a stop to immigration and see what exactly is happening, and let those people that are actually waiting to come here legally, for example, there's people that have their spouses, they're waiting 2 years to come here, because we're just taking in refugees and refugees and refugees. And why am I paying for it? Why am I paying for it? Because the government is on my case, on my case. Oh, you got to pay your taxes. You got to pay your taxes. You don't get no dental. You don't get no other benefits. You better pay your taxes because you have to take care of these people that are coming here unidentified. They don't do a medical check on them. That's a lot of stress on our system. Sorry, 1 second. I think I have somebody at the door. So you continue. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so you heard it from Mally there, but NCA supports a temporary pause in immigration, everyone. And we want a substantial reduction in immigration. We do not support mass immigration. We believe through looking at the facts that it's harming our economy, harming our environment, harming our society, and most importantly, it's harming the majority of the Canadian people. So immigration is having such an impact on us, everyone. We want 50,000 or less coming into Canada. We also want to increase the size of families, at least encourage it of traditional families through tax incentives to have larger families. Otherwise, we're gonna lose our country. I was just mentioning that we support a temporary pause in immigration, like you said, Mally. We also want a reduction in immigration. Like, we're looking at 50,000 or less. Like I said, we would bring in a family like your mom and your sister and you as a political asylum seeker, a legitimate political asylum seeker, trying to flee persecution. Your mom was receiving death threats. She was getting beaten up every day. She was worried about your future and your daughter's future, right? So we have no issue with that. But these radicals, we don't want these radicals in here. We don't want people coming here with values that are incompatible with our own. All right, this is just common sense, and we believe most Canadians would support us on that standpoint. And so we would have ideological screening. It's sickening what's happening at the border, these illegal migrants too, Mally. But we would have zero tolerance for them. You're coming from the U.S. as a legal migrant, you're going back. You're going to be deported. You're not getting a single handout. That's all there is to it. We're not a charity, this country, everyone.
Yeah.
This is not a global charity like the federal government wants it to be, everyone. With all the foreign aid flowing out of our country, all the money to the UN, Mally. This has to be about the Canadian people. We have so many Canadians, Mally, in need. Our seniors, our veterans, our youth, our disabled Canadians are having a tough time. And I know that personally through our membership, the disabled members part of the NCA. It's just horrendous. Our seniors, the stories I keep hearing about our seniors, and we figure that there's close to 700,000 that are near or that are in poverty or close to it. And this is unacceptable, everyone. So we got to put our people first. This globalist agenda needs to be stamped out, everyone. It's killing our country. And we're telling you, we need to have an NCA government. We will fix this big time. We will fix this big time in so many areas. The affirmative action too, Mally, is wrong. The taxation is extreme, and it's enslaving our people. And there's so much corruption, like you said. So, and then all these some of these immigrant groups are very aggressive, and they're getting in government through these globalist parties in Ottawa. So that's what's happening, everyone. So at the NCA, we speak the truth. Another thing we do is we walk the talk. So everything we say we're going to do, we actually act it out. So do you want to add anything else, Mally? Do you want to add any encouragement to the people listening, or?
Yeah, I was gonna just add into how you were saying, like, the people that that are coming here now. People that are coming from U.S., they're not any kind of fear of their lives. There's no fear for their lives. Whereas like I said, I'm heavily involved with some of the youth of Pakistan, people that live in Pakistan. And let me tell you something, there is a huge atheist community in Pakistan that lives you would be living under the closet. They have to act like they're Muslims, but they're not. And they have to go through all this, and they cannot open their mouth or they will be killed. You're blasphemous, and that's it. And that's what they're trying to bring here with that M103. Right. As soon as you say anything against Islam, you're blaspheming. You're hate speech. You're going to go to jail. Right. So it might not be to that extreme that we're going to get killed, but in Pakistan, people are getting lynched to death, okay, because they mention their views. So I know that I know there are a lot of people that have left this. They want to run away from this, and they're here, and they're just not speaking up. And I want to encourage those people and all the immigrants that are out there and all the women, okay, that are out there, that you know what you've left behind. Please speak up about it, because if you don't, our kids are not going to have that freedom. You people think that, no, it's going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. It will happen. The only way it's not going to happen if we speak up about it and we make people aware about what's happening. We should let people in here, of course, but that the ones that are deserving, that are actually in fear of their lives. Mm-hmm. Talking about the taxes and stuff, why are we giving away billions of dollars? Justin Trudeau gave $2 billion to Pakistan. For what? Pakistan has the most corrupt government to begin with. All those politicians, all they have is properties all in London. So any crook from Pakistan, when they're wanted in Pakistan for any kind of crime, they run to England. And they have properties in England. So what does that mean? That England is harboring all these crooks and criminals of the world, especially from Pakistan. England is totally taken over by Pakistanis. Look at Sadiq Khan is the mayor. Look what he's trying to do to England. Just, if you don't have to look that far, look at Europe, what's happening. Whatever's happening in Europe, we're just like a few years behind. When Harper was here, yes, he was doing it, but he was doing it in the, steady so pace. But when Trudeau came, everybody.
No. That's not accurate. Actually, under Harper, just like Trudeau and the other establishment parties, Pakistan was top 5 of the immigrants coming into our country.
Okay.
And he was giving foreign aid to Pakistan, no different than Trudeau. So right now they're giving, it could be 150 million a year in foreign aid to Pakistan. But they're in the top 5, Pakistan, of immigrants coming here.
But where does the money go? Because I know Pakistani people don't even have clean water, or they don't even have electricity. Where is this millions and billions of dollars going?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it for? And that's the thing. And, funny thing is, the guy that just got elected in Pakistan, Imran Khan, which, again, I will say is a very dangerous man, even though he got elected. So what he did, the Ahmadis, and if for people that don't know, Ahmadis or Qadianis is a different sect of Islam, or they follow a little differently. So they call themselves Muslim. In Pakistan, the conflict is that the Muslims, the Sunni Muslims, say you can't call yourself Muslim. You have to call yourself non-Muslim, because you don't have the same things. They follow another prophet than the Sunni Muslims follow. Mm-hmm. So that's the fight about it. So what Imran Khan did, he appointed one Qadiani on one of the high position to manage the economy. And this guy is like one of the top 20 economists in the world. He is supposed to be getting a Nobel Prize in like the next 3 years or so.
Sure.
So, but the whole media, the whole internet, so much Pakistan went crazy about it, that how can a non-Muslim be in the government? But the thing is, they have some people, mm-hmm. Hindus and some Christians in Pakistan in the government, but they wouldn't allow him on the basis of that. And then I saw a big, disagreement between Pakistanis themselves, that some were like, no, this is stupid. We should be judging him on what he can do for Pakistan, not for what religion. Who gives a shit what religion he is? Sorry my language, but, and I saw them, and at the end of the day, they had to take him down because the extremists won. Even though they're not a majority, they still control him.
Yeah.
So by that, you can see which direction Pakistan is also going. Pakistan is headed into a dangerous place. And what Imran Khan was saying on his first speech was asking all his Pakistanis abroad to send that money to Pakistan so they can build Pakistan. So now you imagine how much of our money is going to be sent, not only that we're giving them foreign aid. A lot of people send money to Pakistan for their families and stuff. So just imagine how much money and how much dollars are going up there. And dollars are worth a lot more than Pakistani currency. I don't know what the rate is now, but when I went there, in $1,000, I lived like a queen for a month.
Yeah.
A driver, everything. So just imagine, and he is openly asking them to send your money over here. Send your money over here. What's going to happen to Canada? We're going to have nothing left. Nobody's sending money this way. So this is just, I'm no economist. I'm no one that's going to get a Nobel, but it just makes sense to me that if you're going to keep giving your money away and you have nowhere to get it. Another thing is, a lot of people, actually, there's this guy on my Facebook, he's Pakistani, and he wrote the other day that we need another 1 million immigrants every year in Canada. And then he writes that we don't have enough Pakistani students coming. And I was like, what, you wanted this to be like England? Because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I'm like, how many more do you want? We already have, and everywhere you go, you find somebody that is Pakistani or Indian. How many more do you want? What we have, I think, is enough. And then they talk about no, because they bring in money and this and this. Yes, that's true, they bring in money. But what's going on is a lot of our jobs have also gone out. Telecommunications, a lot of manufacturing jobs, So they're all gone to these third world countries now, where these people are paying them pennies. And they say, no, Canadians won't do that job. No, Canadians will do that job, but they would want decent pay for it. They're not going to do that job for $4. If you want them to work for $4. And who has done that in our country? So I'll give you an example. On Gerrard Street, which is Pakistani Indian street, I knew somebody that used to have a salon. So when I did my aesthetic course and stuff, so they were doing eyebrows, threading eyebrows for $4. When I was doing my thing, so at least a good salon or a decent salon would charge at least $7 to $8. And I'm like, why are you selling for $4. She's like, oh, because that woman across from me selling for $3. Same thing goes on for a lot of jobs here that I find that they will take the market away. Same thing with Asians. They've taken a huge portion of markets and people that used to be able to make decent money, and they've dropped it down. The price is so low that you can't compete with it anymore. You know, if you were to open up one of these places, like they were selling samosas $3 for $1, you can't compete with these things then. Yeah, they're making money because they're selling loads and loads of it. So these are certain things that we should be fixing, and you know, we should be putting Canada first. Canada first, looked upon. Our money should be spent on the people that are here first. If you're in a house, are you going to take care of your child first, or you're going to go outside? If you have enough, then okay, you can help someone. But when you don't have enough yourself and you have a leak in your roof, who are you going to help? It's just common sense. But I think money comes easy for these for these officials. It's not theirs. So
the problem is people coming in, they're not integrating. They're still connected to their homeland, Mali, and we looked at numbers. There's at least 24 billion a year. It's probably more now. Everyone flowing outside the country back to their homeland, right? So, you know, that's freedom of choice, everyone. But these are the type of people that are coming into our country. They're exploiting us, and then they're just sending the money back to their homeland, which is their true homeland. Meanwhile, we're losing our homeland. And I just want to show the numbers on the foreign aid. So I'm just going to put it up, Mali. I want it to be very clear. So just give me a second here, everyone. I just want to show the numbers here just so we can have some factual data for everyone.
Sure.
Okay, here's this here. So here's some this is so, and look, it's just increased, everyone. You know, under Harper, that's when it really went up. In 2008, it did a big jump, everyone. Also 2004, there was a big jump. So Trudeau and Harper are on the same level for a foreign outflow of your money, everyone. And there it is right there.
And I think
so this is for 2017. We're gonna focus on Pakistan here. And there's Pakistan. This is in 2017. So we got 91.1 million, everyone, of your tax dollars. And this is only this is foreign aid. There's probably a lot more money flowing, Mali.
Yeah, that's just the government giving them money, right?
Yeah, I know, but there's always other stuff going on too through the UN. But this is direct foreign aid to Pakistan, and where's that money going? Who is getting it, right? You got to remember, you know, look at this. And every year there's almost $1 billion that's unspecified, Mali, of our money flowing out of the country. So I just want to I'm going to change this here to I'll show you under Harper that actually was no different. I just want to show everyone that.
Yeah, it's they're the same. They're all on the same page.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go to just give me a second here while I change this map. Oh yeah, here's 2014. No, that's still 2017. Let's see. Will this map change? Okay, there's 2014. This is 2014. What do we got? So in 2014, Harper sent 74.5 million of foreign aid to Pakistan. Everyone. So let's go a little earlier in Harper. Let's look at 2010.
Where did I see it was 2 point something billion to Pakistan? I did see some.
So there in 2010 under Harper, he sent 129.7 million. And that was just that 1 year. Right? Right there, everyone. 2010. So it's no different. It doesn't matter whether you have these corrupt conservatives in power or these corrupt liberals. They're just two sides of the same thing, everyone. Those are the facts, Mally. So people got to get informed. And it was no different under Harper. So that's the truth. There was lots of illegal migrants under Harper. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They never brought up the Safe Third Country Agreement with the U.S. They never mentioned it. They didn't do anything. And now they're trying to make it an issue, right? So they're no different. They're just lying. They're stealing. They're deceiving the Canadian people. That's what they are. They're just crooked career politicians in there, and they need to be removed. That's it.
Well, that immigration is a hot topic everywhere in Europe, and that's how some of the parties have been winning in Europe, because they've been focusing on immigration. If you look at Italy, we had the what's his name? Something. His name is.
Italy. Yeah, you know what they're doing here? They're trying to stop parties like the NCA through divide and conquer.
Yeah.
So they have these career politicians, conservatives. They're forming new parties, and we think part of it is to dilute any national movement. But they're not going to be successful because they're part of the club. And they're career politicians, and they're lying, and they have their backers, they have their strings attached. Yeah. So that's what we think the establishment is up to, Mally, is they're trying to divide any type of national movement that will drain them out. But we're going to keep pushing, and it's going to be up to the Canadian people to decide.
I think the whole division that is happening with the Conservatives and everything is good. I think it's a positive thing.
It's definitely good for us.
Yeah, because the thing is that divides their vote.
Yeah.
And then you get a percentage, you get some seatings in as soon as you get your foot in there.
Exactly.
As long as you have people and now that's what's going to happen. People will have to start running, and we have seen it. We've got Kevin, we've got Faith Goldie, we've got a few other people that are standing up, that are normal people like me and you, because we're sick and tired of this. Unless we get in there and we see exactly what's happening, because the thing is, we see it from outside.
I know.
Behind closed doors, you don't know the dirty work that is happening behind closed doors. Trudeau is not just sending, or Harper is not just sending money to Pakistan. There's a reason behind it, why he is filling up pockets of those politicians. And those politicians are taking that money and spending it in another country, or filling up other people. It's like, you scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
The thing is, become so corrupt. Like our Canada, like I said, maybe it wasn't as openly corrupt before, but now it's openly corrupt. Openly corrupt, that if people are not able to see this, I'm sorry, but you are sheep. Stop.
Yeah, there's so many sheep in Canada, but hopefully the light bulb is going on tonight. The bottom line, Mally, the people joining the NCA are awake.
That's good.
And you know what that means, eh? You know what that means?
What?
We're going to have an extremely strong party of awakened Canadians. Imagine that. Because these awakened Canadians like yourself are extremely strong people.
Yeah. Because
they, through their own inner strength, have been able to see through this extreme indoctrination, everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's strength. And that's why, though time is short, time is on our side, because every day we're awakening new Canadians. And the good news, everyone, once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
You're awake for life now.
And people are looking for options, like people, because the thing is, there's no options. You have the Conservatives.
Well, they don't want an option.
Some people do, right?
No, I mean the establishment doesn't want.
They don't, of course.
Because they control everything. They don't want choice.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they don't, you know, we don't get coverage in the media unless they're attacking us.
of course.
So, but it's up to the Canadian people. The more support we get from the Canadian people, the more exposure we're going to get. Like, for example, we did a GoFundMe for a billboard, a 44-foot billboard, and we got all the funding now. That billboard is going up along the highway of the party.
Well, huge silent community that, like I said, you know, they might not say anything because of their jobs, and I understand because they have kids and they have to put food on their table. I totally understand that. But as long as you can help us, you know, we are taking that risk. We're putting ourselves
exactly.
For that. And you know, the only thing that we're asking is for financial help. So I have some background in finances, and this is what we call are the sharks. So we are competing against the sharks who have billions of dollars of donators, or, you know, people that can donate to them. You know, they make, it's not a big deal for them. You think Muhammad Faki is going to come and write me a check of like something to donate to my cause? No. He's going to do it for, you know, for Trudeau. Yeah, and he's going to do it for whoever is bringing his cause forward. So if you're bringing your cause forward, then all we need, and any support, $2, $3, $5, it adds up. When
it does, big time.
It adds up, and that's all we need is your support. Even for me to run, everybody's like, "Oh, you should run, you should run." But I'm like, I can't run with empty pockets, guys.
Exactly.
If you guys are saying that run, and then when I say, okay, you know what, I'm doing a fundraiser and nobody gives me anything, then I'm sorry, but I can't do anything because you're competing with people with billions of dollars. Okay, you either depend on that to promote yourself, because you have to market yourself. It's all about marketing. Like I said, it's a popularity contest, you know, but at the same time, we're actually going around and telling them what we want to do with our policies and stuff. Whereas these politicians, career politicians, will pick one topic that is very concerning to people and just beat up around the bush about that topic. You can ask them whatever question, they will never answer your questions. You know, you can ask us any questions and we'll have a straightforward answer for it.
Exactly.
So it's, people have to support, and I know there is like a huge silent community out there that will vote, and that's why you see so much support for what's his name, Maxime Bernier. You know, and I also believe that, you know, that's just, he's looking for an opportunity. He saw an opportunity and he's like, well, I wanted to be a leader. I didn't get a chance, and I'm going to do this. So I'm going to break the whatever, and I'm going to make my own thing, you know. So that's fine. But we also don't know his policies. We don't know. He's also a career politician. Yeah. He's gonna sell out like this.
Yeah, yeah. No, exactly. And you know, he's part of the club. We're not. And the bottom line, that guy was a Harper stooge for a decade. Didn't say a peep. Just towing the line, the party line, right? So, you know, we figure that guy is just part of the establishment. He's trying to divide the vote. To keep the agenda going, everyone. So don't get fooled. And the true tell sign of these career politicians, everyone, the people in the pockets of these globalists, is that they never, ever, everyone, remember this, they never, ever talk about the Bank of Canada and how we're enslaved now to the central bankers. And that started in 1972. So you do your homework, everyone, and you, the true integral parties out there, the true integral candidates, are the ones that make that an issue, everyone, that want to revert back to a true Bank of Canada. These other ones are in bank with these central, they're in bed with these central bankers who are fleecing you to the tune of $64 billion a year. And they got the fiat currency, the fake currency, and they're manipulating inflation. They're printing our money, central bankers. This is one of probably the pinnacle issue in our country that's never discussed in the mainstream. So you do your homework. And, but as far as I know, we're the only ones talking about that issue.
Well, the bankers control a lot of your economy, you know, like they're the ones. They can make the rate go up, and they can cause, honestly, they can bring the economy down. They can have a crash, like they can do whatever, you know. It's
You're
all
right,
under
100%. They're in complete control of our inflation.
they're like
And we're enslaved through debt, everyone.
exactly.
The mounting debt means higher debt service payments to these banks, which means less service for the Canadian people. That's reality. Higher taxes. That's what's going on. All these big parties, these career politicians in Ottawa are stringed to these central banksters who are ripping off our country. We're completely sold out. So we need to correct that, everyone. And we got videos on it, Mally. But that's when you know someone is true. When they're willing to address that issue, when they're willing to have substance behind it and act on it, then they're true to the Canadian people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's a huge issue, everyone, the central banksters. So look at our taxation, fiscal, monetary policy to learn more about that. Do you have anything in closing? Mally, do you want to share?
Sure. I just would like to say again the same thing, that please listen to what we have to say with an open mind. Listen to people that come from other countries and what they're telling you, because a lot of people, when you're arguing with us or are telling us our comments, oh, my neighbor is like this, doesn't do that. Well, you haven't lived into that culture. You know, you haven't gone back and lived in that third world country. I would suggest for everybody that supports anything or any kind of immigration, go in a third world country, go stay in an Islamic country, and then come and give me your views. Because I will tell you that your view is going to change dramatically. So educate yourself. Look at the history. And that's the thing. We are not educating our kids. We're not educating. Our education system is, again, it's all filled with liberals and with liberal values and ideas. That's another topic. But just educate yourself, and please support, if you are there and you like what we say and what this party stands for, support them. Like I said, $1, $2, $5, $100, it's like a drop in a bucket, and it will fill up, you know? So every little bit counts, and we need funds. We're not like sitting here asking for you to pay me so I can go and get my manicure and my hair done. No, I'm not asking you for that. But if I am going to be going out every single day, somebody has to feed my child too, right? It's just, we need to get, if I'm going to be running, I need to get posters. I need to do marketing material. It all costs money. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. And if you're not able to come out and do it, support financially. That's a big support that any party needs. I'm telling you, that's a big support any party needs, because you need to market yourself. And like you said, the media is not going to cover us. All we have is be out there. You know, I find that it works better when you're out there in person. Internet also helps. You know, we can only do with social media, but because of all the censoring that they're doing these days, we can't even get our message out to as many people as you would like. So just support the people that are speaking up. Honestly, stop arguing on Facebook or Twitter or all these places. It's not going to help. You want to really help, get out there, join the party, get into the system. Facebook is not going to fix it. Commenting is not going to fix it. You know, you can make awareness. Yes, I understand. If you're sharing, share, and make awareness. But sitting there and arguing with somebody, I have done it, and it doesn't do nothing. You have to get out there and get into the system. You have to get into the system to get these people out of there. You know, when you have a clog, you have to go inside and get the clog and then get it out. You know, it's just, that's what you got to do. And yeah, so I would encourage everyone to support this party. And, you know, if you want to run, I think you should definitely run. And please think of Canada first. Like, seriously.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And I
have nowhere else to go. I have no other country to go. And I tell my mom, I'm like, where are we going to go?
Seriously. That's the same as us, you know, and the Canadians that support us. This is our homeland. We need to protect it, everyone. And we're at a crisis right now, as Mally described. And please take this very seriously. You know, we are giving hope to people. But as Mally said, we are dependent on the Canadian people. The more support we receive from the Canadian people, the more success we're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's reality. We are dependent on the Canadian people, and we should be dependent on the Canadian people. And we're a vehicle for the Canadian people. We're Canada's People's Party. That's what we are, Mally.
Yeah.
We're grassroots. We're non-career. We don't want any crony career politicians that are all connected to these special interests, everyone. So we don't want career politicians in this party. We're a clean slate, and we're looking to do major reform, everyone, and get our country back on track. So we're gonna have you on again, Mally. Thank you for making the time, and it was a real pleasure of mine to have you on and to have your support. And everyone, please take our words to heart, and let's all grow together. Let's get our country back. Let's get our country back on track. And I want to wish you a good night, Mally, and everyone else.
So much for having me.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Excellent.
Good night. Bye.